Hello, my name is Ashley Jackson, and this is my professional development presentation for Liberty University in the area of educational technology. This presentation is going to address what ISTE is, the benefits of joining a professional organization as an educator, and several resources that are available for educators, as well as how these resources support while enhancing and enriching the learning experience of all students. So what is ISTE? ISTE stands for International Society for Technology and Education, which is a community for educators who are passionate and believe in the power of educational technology to transform teaching and learning. ISTE inspires the community in educational practice in 5 main areas: professional development, memberships, events, community, and publishing. So why should one join a professional development community? Joining a professional development community such as ISTE or any other organization can be very beneficial and provide advantages within the career. When educators join professional organizations, they are being lifelong learners, which allows them to grow as an educator as well as collaborate with others. One of the reasons that one should join a professional organization is networking. This may seem like an obvious reason, but it is almost one of the most important. Professional organizations open up the opportunity for educators to mingle and learn with other educators within the field as well as outside of their field to become more diverse. This allows educators to open up unknown possibilities of collaboration, discovery of new ideas, and allowing educators to compare and improve methods. Networking also allows educators to be surrounded by others who understand the daily struggles, joys, fears, and accomplishments. Next, when educators join a professional organization, it provides them an opportunity to learn about the research in education and provide access to journals they may not have access to otherwise. Professional organizations also provide educators with opportunities to improve and practice their leadership skills. Next, another major benefit of being a member in a professional organization is having the access to grants, fellowship, and awards that can provide funding for better teaching methods and other educational research. Educators should join a professional organization to prioritize growth within the field. Education is constantly changing, and having the network with fellow educators is important to stay relevant with education. Finally, yet importantly, educators are usually in the field of education because of their love of learning. The first resource that I would like to talk about from the ISTE website is a blog titled Authentic Inclusion, Focus on Design Rather than Accommodation when Using Classroom Technology. Many educators know the term accommodation. However, there is a new term that is being thrown around in the education field, which is Universal Design for Learning, or UDL. UDL has 3 principles. First, within UDL, there are multiple means of representation, meaning that information is offered in more than one format, such as video or hands-on learning, in addition to textbooks. Secondly, there is flexibility in action and expression, meaning that the students have multiple ways to interact with the material and demonstrate knowledge, such as an oral presentation instead of a paper pencil test. Finally, there are multiple ways to tap into student passions. This means that students can choose from assignments that are relevant to their lives. As an educator with an inclusive classroom with diverse learners, ranging from English language learners, students with learning disabilities, students who receive speech language therapy, occupational therapy, and on-grade level students, Universal Design for Learning can serve all my students in multiple ways. For example, we are creating a narrative writing about Roanoke the Lost Colony, and my students are required to pretend that they are a Roanoke colonist and tell a story from their point of view based on the theories. And we are having them type out a rough draft broken up into an introduction, middle events, and conclusion on a Google slide. However, while reflecting on reading through focusing on the design of the instruction, I believe I would have students be able to choose how they would like to approach this task. For example, if they would like to create a play or present it orally. Overall, universal design for learning will benefit all my students because this way I can focus on the whole student and they feel like they have some control in their education. The next resource that I chose to learn more about was another blog from ISTE titled 30 Plus Tools for Diverse Learners. Throughout this blog, teachers are expected to learn about the different tools that can be used for diverse learners. They are also expected to learn about ways to accommodate their students' natural variability and learning preferences, as well as learning about tools to keep students engaged in their work. For students to be engaged in their work, it has to be meaningful and relevant. This can be approached by project-based learning, or a PBL, which allows students to tie the instruction to real-world concerns that are relevant to the learners. With PBL, students are actively engaged and gain knowledge and skills as they investigate and respond to an authentic, engaging, and complex problem. A few types of tools that can be incorporated in the classroom for all students are Google Drive, Pear Deck, and Voice Dream Reader. First, Google Drive is a free cloud storage tool where students can share information with other peers as well as create assignments. This tool is easily accessible and can be used to collaborate ideas in real time and even chat with each other as they brainstorm ideas and make changes to the content. Secondly, Pear Deck is an app that allows the teacher to broadcast a presentation and answer interactive questions. Pear Deck can be used synchronously or asynchronously. Students can interact whether they are either at home or within the classroom on their Chromebooks while answering a multiple choice question, true, false, fill in the blank, and/or formative assessments, as well as being able to draw on their screen as if they would be on a regular whiteboard within the classroom. I utilize this program for vocabulary review, comprehension review, math instruction and review, as well as morning meeting reflection and/or mood check-in. There are also many other features to this program. I really enjoy it and so do my students because they are actively engaged and they know that I can see their name if they are not participating, which keeps them accountable. Finally, Voice Dream Reader expands on the capabilities of the built-in text-to-speech feature, which includes fully customizable colors for the word and sentence highlighting, masking to display only a few lines of a text at a time, and support dyslexia-friendly fonts. Using this tool allows documents to be imported from a number of resources, with one being Bookshare, which is a service that provides free access to books in accessible formats for students with qualifying print disabilities. And there are many other tools to be utilized for diverse learners, but I believe the three that I have mentioned mostly benefit my students in ways as they are able to collaborate with peers no matter what kind of learner they are. Technology can open up many possible ways for learners to find their own voice and take ownership of their own learning. Therefore, once again, I believe that this approach will benefit all students within my classroom. The last resource that I chose was a blog from ISTE website titled How Special Education Technology Improves Learning. Throughout this blog, educators learn about the power of technology for special education students. Special education technology has the power to provide optimum support that allows students with special needs participate and learn along with their mainstream peers. Technology allows educators to have a huge range of materials to differentiate instruction for all students. For example, a student with dyslexia might benefit from using software that reads words aloud when selected. A student who is nonverbal can make use of the text-to-speech feature to present their learning to the class, which allows them to share their work like a student without verbal deficits. Finally, students with hearing deficits can use captioning to experience audio-visual materials. This resource helps me serve my students in ways that that with my inclusive classroom, I can incorporate technology to best meet those students who would benefit from it, such as students who need someone to read something to them. For example, we have taught students to highlight what they need read to them and hit the CAPTI voice, which will read the items they highlighted aloud. This way, they are feeling independent in their own learning and education. The students who would benefit the most from the adaptive technologies are those students who have diverse learning needs, such as a learning disability, visually or auditorily impaired, and or nonverbal, because they will have technology devices at their hands to assist their individualized needs. Each year, ISTE pulls together their resources and presenters and puts on a conference, especially for educators. The workshops are engaging and interactive. Participants not only listened, but also networked, explored, and created. Each day of the 5-day ISTE 2020 conference, the association hosted 2 to 3 presenters on the main stage discussing a specific theme for that day. On Monday, the theme was inclusion, which was presented by ISTE CEO Richard Kuluda and the author of How to Be an Anti-Racist and professor at Brown University, Ibram X. Kennedy. On Tuesday, the theme was empathize. Nina Jackson discussed infusing creativity, curiosity, and compassion into the classroom, while Minnie Brideau showcased the importance of developing programs focused on youth equity and education reform. On Wednesday, it featured 3 presenters focusing on adapting technology into the classroom. Bill Bass shared his experiences and lessons learned as an educational innovator and president of the ISTE Board of Directors. Dana Simons delivered a keynote address concerning emotional intelligence. And 14-year-old inventor and scientist Janitala Rayo was interviewed with a focus of innovation in STEAM. On Thursday, the theme was collaboration. Young inventor Ria Karamuchi discussed the role of women in STEAM. Nadim Nahu talked about leading young innovators towards creating new industries. And the session concluded with a live musical performance by Telly Ling. On Friday, it concluded the conference with a focus on expanding your thinking. Principal Hamash Brewer spoke about energizing your educational community, which was followed by a musical performance by Melinda Doolittle. In addition to each day's main presentations, numerous smaller presentations were given on a wide range of educational technology topics. Although I was unable to attend the ISTE EdTech 2020 conference, while looking through the presenters, there were a couple that I would have attended due to personal interest and wanting to gain more knowledge to best reach my students. The first presenter that I would have attended would have been Holly Clark, who is an education thought leader, international speaker, best-selling author, and a student advocate. The title of her session that I would have attended was Student-Centered Learning in a Chromebook-Infused Classroom. Within this session, I would have been discovering how to use Chromebooks in the classroom to create meaningful, blended learning experiences that put the students at the center of their learning. I also would have been creating learning scenarios focused on the power of creation, deeper learning, and project-based learning. I would have wanted to attend this portion of the conference because I believe Chromebooks and other technology are infusing more and more within the classroom. I would want to learn how to use Chromebooks in a powerful way, and not just because they are there for the students to use. Also, each of my students have Chromebooks, and our learning platform of Schoology is where they submit all assignments. However, I would want to learn how students could create their own artifacts with using the Chromebook that was based on exploring a real-world issue and taking control of their own learning. The second presenter I would have attended would have been Chris Aviles, who is a teacher at Knollwood Middle School in Fairhaven, New Jersey. The title of his session was How to Use Esports to Grow Students' Social and Emotional Learning. This session focused on the social and emotional learning of students, which range from the capacity to build communication, teamwork, and leadership skills, to educating students on the effects of diet, sleep, and exercise that have on mood and performance. That esports is an engaging way to grow students' social and emotional learning. When I first came across this session, it grabbed my attention because working with students that come from multiple backgrounds and home situations, I know that if they do not show appropriate social and emotional behavior, the academics are going to suffer. Just as the old saying goes, Maslow before Bloom, if students' hierarchy of needs are not met, they will not be able to focus on the educational objectives. This session also grabbed my attention because in today's society, there are multiple people who are against gaming and technology. So I was surprised that Chris was taking another viewpoint at this. Therefore, in this presentation, we have seen how professional networks guide, support, and inform educators in their work. ISTE is just one example of a professional networking organization that is actively seeking to serve the needs of educators and students. Do not struggle alone. There are many resources out there to help you. Thank you for watching this presentation.